Hello. How are you feeling?
Shoes.
I beg your pardon?
Shoes.
Hey guys, and welcome to a new Doctor Who video. Today I wanna rank all regenerations of the Doctor, so without any further ado, let's start with...
Could you pull?
Could I? What?
Okay, instantly starting with a bit of a controversy here. The 14th Doctor's regeneration is on my last place because it really is the aspect of the bi-generation. Still today, it really does not make sense that the Doctor can split himself and still live on. It's just a huge plot hole, for example the reality war, etc. Where was 14? And the worst thing were the early comments back then that every Doctor has secretly bi-generated. Like, no? This is just a lie, and in addition, it kinda stole Ncuti the show to really let him be, but no, he's standing there next to David Tennant. I don't know, man. Let him finally rest.
Leave the girl. It's the man I want.
The 6th Doctor's regeneration, as you might know, was literally just Sylvester McCoy with a wig regenerating into himself, because Colin Baker had kind of a beef with the BBC. He wanted to make a last season for his regeneration, but they just ignored him. So yeah, this regeneration was really cheap and nothing special.
I have to live with that. But for now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
Next is the War Doctor. He just entered the TARDIS and started regenerating. No speech, nothing to say about his life, just a bit about the ears, which we get it. Christopher Eccleston, but here comes my point. Originally, it was planned to have him in the 50th special, but because of the huge beef with the producers and him,
sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner, and I'll come back.
He not just left after season 1, but he refused to appear in the 50th, which I have to say they handled perfectly with John Hurt, but the regeneration itself was just him standing there, and yes, I know, for 2 frames we can hardly see a shape of 9, but nah, man.
A tear? Sarah Jane? No, don't cry. While this life is...
The 3rd Doctor drops out of the TARDIS like when the 2nd regenerated into him. That's nice. But everything else, the green screen looks awful, and the regeneration itself was just this transition again, and nothing special.
All children leave home sooner or later. The joy is to watch them fly.
McCoy spawns in the USA and gets instantly shot. Absolute cinema, but to be honest, what was this? He did not hear the shooting and the TARDIS had no shields up at the time? Come on. And then he just made some facial expressions and became Paul McGann. This whole Frankenstein's monster thing was cool though.
Here we go. The long way round.
And there it is, the very first regeneration, which was just a transition, but hey, what's there to say except William Hartnell started this legendary process. There is a newer version with David Bradley in Twice Upon a Time, which doesn't even make that much sense, because in this version he's alone, but he was with Ben and Polly. Never mind.
Is this death?
The 5th Doctor saves Perry's life and asks if this is death, while Perry comes back and holds him. It's a well start, but you know how it was back at the time, and her sexualization really distracts from the serious situation he's in. He actually doesn't know if he's able to regenerate. He could actually die forever. And then, past companions fly around him, telling he mustn't die, ending with the Master yelling and laughing in menace. Brilliant. My highlight remains when Colin Baker appears.
happened?
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
He was the doctor all the time.
Tom Baker really dies a hero. He falls from the satellite after he had a flashback of his enemies, again the last one being the Master, all of them just saying his name. Now laying on the ground, he's surrounded by his companions. Flashbacks again, but from his friends, again all saying Doctor. He smiles and ends his run with the iconic
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
and the Watcher appears, who happens to be an unknown incarnation of the Doctor who wanders into himself. And we get Peter Davison, a good and actually emotional end with the Master winning again.
Oh, there it is. Silly old universe.
Oh man, my man Beethoven, the legendary Peter Capaldi as well, had a big speech at the end. Thanks, Moffat. I have to say, even though the speech isn't really that crazy, I memorized it word for word because I love Capaldi so much.
Never be cruel, never be cowardly, and never ever eat pears.
Capaldi put all his heart into his last moment and you can really feel that. However, it was not that special, I have to say. As I said, the speech not that crazy, and again, the regeneration itself very basic, and destroying the TARDIS again, literally ejecting Jodie from it.
Whole new regeneration cycle. Ooh. Taking a bit longer.
Another controversy here, but 11th regeneration was kinda meh. Yes, he already used it to kill the Daleks, but this here is what we are looking at. Clara enters the TARDIS and sees fish fingers and custard. She's looking for him, and then he enters with his nice drip. I really have to say, the colors and this chain around his belly, slay. Overall, I have to say, the music and sound effects being used here were actually peak. Very emotional and well used. He then randomly starts a speech which introduces
The Doctor.
He gets hallucinations of Emilia while Clara stands right next to him. The second part of his speech actually gives me goosebumps.
I will always remember when the Doctor was me.
Adult Amy spawns and holds him. He's holding her as well, but she's invisible for Clara, for sure. He drops his bow tie and becomes the GOAT Peter Capaldi and instantly catches me with his attack eyebrows and new kidneys. Coming back to Matt Smith. His companion was standing right in front of him and he said nothing personal to her. No, last goodbye Clara, my impossible girl. And why did he start the TARDIS when his new incarnation is confused with the situation like he was?
Just one question. Do you happen to know how to fly this thing?
Why not letting him regenerate and then fly off? But enough. Let's get to
Joy to the world!
We now have the youngest regeneration, that being Ncuti's unexpected and spontaneously shot regeneration. If you want to know more about it, watch this video on my channel. Nevertheless, it's really well shot, with him not being frightened or scared, but joyful, and exits the TARDIS. He doesn't want to be alone and talks to Joy from the Christmas special. The moment he said he enjoyed the journey, that was Ncuti himself talking 100%. The music was so good. The singing elevated this and had a tear running my face when this happened. I don't want to talk about Billy in this video. I already made 2 videos about it and I slowly want to forget about it if I'm being honest.
Tag. You're it.
13's regeneration really fits her into her character, leaving the TARDIS because she's smart enough that regeneration would destroy the TARDIS, like when she became the Doctor. By the way, why does this happen in New Who all the time? I mean, back then the Doctor was just vibing and then became someone new. Now it's always a yellow explosion, killing the TARDIS and bringing the new incarnation in danger? That's so stupid, but not with 13.
Blossom, yes, blossom.
And she's just sad that she can't know what's coming next. She's happy, but for sure doesn't want to go. She regenerates, the camera zooms out, and it's just so beautiful. The music, the singing, the shot of the TARDIS and her being at the edge of the cliffs, alone, and then becoming David Tennant again? I could not believe my eyes when I saw this. Everyone knew Ncuti's the new Doctor, but then him? That for sure was a surprise.
What?
For that reason, you will be sent back to that planet.
Oh, good.
In exile.
The first Doctor's regeneration just was a transition, but made it instantly better with the second one. The Time Lords sent him into exile and actually forced him to regenerate without him having the opportunity to choose his face.
But he's too fat, isn't he?
Yeah, older times, but he refused and the regeneration just begins. It's so unique and random in a way I can't describe it. I really like the special kind of regeneration of him not knowing what will happen and then spawning on Earth as the third. He's literally being killed and put in exile. That's cruel. There's a newer version being dropped a while ago and I don't like it. He's just sitting there and starts to glow. For me, it seems like now he was able to find himself and choose the face of Jon Pertwee. But in my head, the original ending is way more dark, and that's why I rank it that high.
Time Lords have this little trick. It's sort of a way of cheating death.
Here we are with the first New Who regeneration that started this whole yellow explosion thing. As you might know, I love Christopher Eccleston. His departure as well was very spontaneous, like Ncuti's. They had the same showrunner. What a coincidence. Never mind. He's explaining Rose what will happen. He's dying, but tells her she was fantastic.
And you know what? So was I.
He exits with a big smile, like we know and love him. A perfect regeneration for the revival and a great goodbye to the legendary 9th Doctor.
Will it hurt?
Yes.
Good.
The 8th Doctor's regeneration might be one of the best things they ever did, because Paul McGann only had one appearance in the movie and then got nothing more. Worst decision in history. I love him so much, and he's so good looking. I mean, back then and today, huge talent wasted. But yeah, he got a minisode where he got his regeneration, and that's so unique again. He crash landed by the Sisters of Khan, and he decides the world doesn't need a doctor right now, and the Sisters are making potions that kill him and give the new incarnation special skills, like strength, or can choose the gender or appearance? That's crazy. When he chooses to be a warrior, the High Priestess gave him a special potion she made herself. He now wants to be alone and gives a toast to his companions and friends. He drinks the potion and dies. During my research, there's a novel about the Day of the Doctor, and it said the potion the High Priestess made was just lemonade and dry ice. Do with that information what you will, but just know. His regeneration is so emotional in the end, even though I only saw him in the movie and in this special. It felt like I had a journey with this incarnation as well. He's just so talented for real. After his regeneration, we see in a reflection John Hurt, but looking way younger than he is, implying he was young at the beginning of the Time War, which is a crazy detail. Very good and unique regeneration story told in under 7 minutes.
This song is ending, but the story never ends.
That brings us to my number 1. The regeneration of the face of modern Doctor Who. The man who had 3 incarnations with this face, if you count the Meta Crisis. It's for sure David Tennant's regeneration. After saving Wilf, which still in my headcanon could have been executed better, but now having him hardly wounded stepping into his TARDIS after visiting everyone he loved, including Rose at a time she knew nothing about him, etc. The regeneration itself is okay, it's the yellow beams again, and his face is literally just a transition, but the music, the singing, and everything David Tennant did to this franchise, I have to tear up every time he says his last words.
I don't want to go.
And the music blasts into my ears, and he finally regenerates into Matt Smith, who does a fantastic job with his goofy movements and facial expressions. What are your thoughts on my ranking? What is your favorite regeneration? Let me know in the comments. I wish you a wonderful time, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.